Okay.
We sustain bridges between arts and care. Yes. These are the core practice principles that guide us in our work with seniors. Also just to take note that seniors ranges from 60s, 70s, 80s and even 90s as well when we're in the community and regardless of the settings, right? So we think of them as soft invitations to opening up deeper moments. How do we actually bridge all this access, safety, identity, disciplines and moments into the work that we do as art therapists and artists across different settings. Okay. Yeah. I think what's really important is consistent presence as well. For me, that stood out here for these principles. Okay. And then I'm just going to share a little bit more about future directions in Singapore. Looking ahead in the Singapore context, we see sustainable, healthy aging really depending on continuity, training, evaluation, and strong cross-sector partnerships. Right, and within this ecosystem, the art therapist and artist we want to believe that plays a unique, rich role, connecting arts and care, helping these efforts of research and practice. So I think we've heard a lot about the sharing of research, evidence-based as important, but how do we translate all this into practice back into what's the best practice that could be out in the community or in different settings as well. Holding everything together in a meaningful way. I think what stood out for me in the earlier sharing is also respect in the culture that we are in as well. I think there's a lot of respect.
Around the idea of their journey through the museum. So normally the participants will come to the museum and then they will actually go through with the care facilitators. They will visit the museum, they will have conversations about a particular theme. Right, so for example, it might be on personal identity, leading on to larger nationhood, that sort of identity, and then kind of like trying to capture that in things like you create like time capsules for them, and so you can see over here, them capturing some of the things that they actually experience within that tour in the museum. So as I mentioned, this is kind of anchoring the museum objects. Using the museum objects to anchor art making. Yeah, and some of it was also tied to the idea of home. So this was kind of designing their own homes and reflecting on our identity as the garden city. So we kind of brought those themes in when we were working with them to create, to kind of have conversations about what was the idea of home for them. So you can see that reflected over here in some of the writings that they did. So thanks, Karen. I think it's really nice to be able to hear all these different perspectives, the panelists, as well as I think the keynote speakers, and also of course the other breakout sessions that are ongoing today. Of course, unfortunately you can only attend one in this time, but we are glad that you're here with us, and hopefully we can share a bit about our practice from this, our own personal lived experience as art therapists, artists. So what I wanted to share over here was just a bit of my own personal practice. So Karen and I have collaborated on, I think, 3 to 4 projects together. But outside of that, I think it is also our own work that informs our collaborations. So for me, a lot of times when I'm wearing my art therapist hat, when I'm wearing my artist hat, I bring that into the settings that I work. So this particular one was a project that I did with Jurong Health. Jurong Health Arts and Health Festival, in which we were kind of working with patients with dementia to kind of help them to recreate some of their memories from the past. And so with this, it was actually using their drawings, okay, to help generate images that they could actually find most meaningful, that they could connect with from their past. And so over here, what you see is in the foreground, that's the original drawing, and then after a series of conversations with them, the resulting image is one that's generated through AI. So that's my practice in which I utilize quite a bit of photography, video, animation, digital media to kind of help spark some of the conversations with the participants that I work with.
Okay, and then this is also from our practice as well, just to sum it up. In the work that both Tze Ching and I have done and continue to do, right, we position our identities as art therapists and artists across many different settings: healthcare, community arts, and cultural spaces. It's through our lens and our practice. These are some of the bridges we are trying to build. So later, Tze Ching will share 3 different case studies settings: a nursing home, a museum, and a community-based production on how the arts could offer different ways of supporting our seniors. So our work has taken us across many different spaces, not as a therapist doing therapy, but as an art therapist, artist who teaches arts and care. Okay, so these are some of the points over here that we just want to highlight through our practice. Okay, so just to share a little bit more about my individual practice, I'll read out my writing and would like to invite you to take a moment to look at this response art that I have. So it reflects my practice and my journey that I've been on for the past decade. Yeah. So where the art meets everyday life. At the heart of my practice is a simple truth. The art opened us to ourselves and to one another, and to the lives that we are all still trying to understand. I work across healthcare, community, cultural spaces, weaving therapeutic art processes into everyday life. Not as decoration, but as pathways. Pathways to well-being, to meaning, to the quiet inner rooms we rarely visit. My work is rooted in care, in co-creation, and in the belief that art belongs to everyone. 30 minutes, we would like to highlight on our collaborative work and share from a heuristic point of view, which our title kind of states: it's creative pathways for aging well, for art therapists and artists as a bridge.
Social service, arts and cultural spaces, thoughtfully tailoring each experience to their needs and abilities. And Tze Ching over here is a registered art therapist, art educator, and artist. He has worked across diverse art therapy settings, and he also specializes in healthcare consulting for art therapy and arts and health-related programming and services. So with that,
是杨秋桃音乐学院 Yang Xiu Tu Conservatory of Music， 我们的音乐学院今天有个活动。